Our guest today is Gretchen Hayden. She is founder of Chhandika School of Kathak Dance, which is celebrating 15th anniversary this year. And also on Saturday, November the 19th, they are producing a wonderful Kathak dance show by young students. We are going to talk to Gretchen about her journey into Kathak dance and 15th anniversary and the upcoming program on Saturday. Gretchen, welcome to our studio.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Sure. And so 15 years ago, you founded this wonderful Kathak dance school. What inspired you to do that?
I had been teaching in the area since we moved here, my husband and I, in 1992, and slowly building up students and the student base, and establishing Kathak in the area, and establishing the teachings of my Guruji, Pandit Chitresh. And so it came to a point where I was encouraged to form a non-profit school, which was to me very daunting to think of doing. But I had some wonderful senior students at the time, along with Guruji and his wife Celine Shindas, encouraged me to establish a non-profit for various reasons. And so it seemed timely to do that. And
you learned Kathak from Chitresh Das ji?
Yeah, since 1972.
Okay.
Yeah, 1972. So Chhandika was formed by, I'm called the founder, but it was really many co-founders and these women who helped establish Chhandika.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, earlier you mentioned your husband, so I just wanted to make our readers aware. He is George Ruckert, who is very well known in the Indian community, and he's also one of the founders of Mithas as well.
Founders of Mithas, a disciple of Ustad Ali Akbar Khan Sahab.
Excellent, yeah. So we are very familiar with him, so I just wanted to make the connection for our audience.
Okay.
So now, in the last 15 years, you must have at least hundreds of Kathak students who have passed through your school.
Yeah, when I look, I actually should have done a count, but hundreds of students have been exposed to Kathak. Okay. And we have, I've taught in different areas. I taught up in Andover for 10 years before, I travel around teaching in different places. Sure. So we have different locations. And
now, what was very intriguing to me, that off the camera you mentioned that you also teach Kathak at Tufts University and also at Wellesley College.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting that that you have Kathak students learning Kathak at Tufts. Yeah. So how many students roughly you have in your class at Tufts?
So any given semester there's 18, 20 students generally at Tufts. And they get an arts culture credit for it, mainly arts. They have a wonderful, vibrant dance department at Tufts, and that is been just a fantastic place. I've been teaching there over 15 years.
Oh, excellent.
So,
at Wellesley College, you teach Kathak dance as a part of a physical.
There it's part of their PE program, so the students take it a little less seriously because they just get their PE credit.
So what is their reaction when they come to the PE class and say, oh, this is a Kathak?
It's been different over the years, very different. When I first started, I think students, it was so new at that time. I mean, now there's much more diversity, and students are used to being able to try these different things. At that time, Kathak was very new. Generally, they have no idea what they're doing, about to do, especially at Wellesley. And then also, sometimes they're, of course, taken aback because white woman, blonde hair.
Yeah. Okay.
And that has been an interesting hurdle to overcome in various ways through the years. So, but generally now I find, and I think it's because I'm older, I've been doing this long enough, generally there's a nice acceptance and respect.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now, so talking about PE, I have to ask you this question, is Kathak that good for health or exercise?
Well, it's incredibly athletic and aerobic, and so yes, it's fantastic. Plus it's just so, as we've spoken about, and I know you're aware of, Guruji's Kathak yoga method of training and approach to the dance. But Kathak is yoga, so depending on how you pursue it, it's a spiritual practice combined with physical exercise. But if you take it just on PE level,
sure.
it's fantastic.
Excellent.
You know, yeah.
So I know that you mentioned that you learned Kathak from Pandit Chitresh Das, but also those of us who grew up in India, and also one other Kathak name comes to our mind is Pandit Birju Maharaj.
Of course.
So,
of course.
So I know the basic roots are the same for all the disciples of Kathak dance. Do you see any difference between Pandit Birju Maharaj and Pandit Chitresh Das?
Big differences, and this is not to compare, but big differences. Sure. And by the way, I had such privilege to see Maharaj in the 1970s in California. It was glorious to see him performing early on at the Aliapur College of Music. So Maharajji is Maharajji, as we know, the Khalifa of the Gharana. Sure. He is the inheritor of the Lucknow Gharana. He embodies that. He's the master who he is. He's, I mean, no one can touch. That's his place. So I don't so much compare, good, bad this way as so to say you have Chitresh Das, whose Guruji was from Rajasthan. So there's while the style of Guruji Chitresh Das was very much the best of Lucknow. His grace, his beauty in dance. He also very fiery, and the influences of that Jaipuri style are there. Also, I would say that in Pandit Chitresh Das, as I call him Guruji, he had a longing to reach out with Kathak in a way, and also to reject some of the stagnation of the arts that were happening at the time when he was a young man in India. So when he and Ustad Aliapur Khan Sahib, others who came to the West in the 70s, they found this, what would I say, a field of people, Westerners, very interested in philosophy, yoga, wanting to seek the teachings that they were giving. So because the personality of Chitresh Das at that time, so open and able to adapt and himself get into becoming what he called himself, a Bengali Californian. It allowed him to really go deeply with his teachings to non-Indians. I don't know if I could have, as my personality, thrived as well if I'd gone to India and studied it with great masters there. There was something about studying from him and how he went deeply into the philosophy and the essences of the art and was able to bring us into that.
I know he passed away, unfortunately, very untimely. That's I think a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And so, what do you think of him, like as a teacher, as somebody who really has been a big proponent of Kathak dance, especially in the United States?
He's done something to me fantastic. I mean, the fact that hundreds of students, I'm a conduit. He gave me the gift of Kathak, and as much as I can, I pass it on to those who are being exposed to it here. So I think that is such a gift. He came, with the desire to, like, what do you say, put another flower in the bouquet of arts of America. He, Aliapur Khan Sahib, they taught tirelessly day in and day out. And at first they were teaching Westerners. There wasn't the South Asian diaspora at first.
Sure.
My generation, no. The Indians who were coming, not so interested in studying their own, but in years later he reached back into the Indian community and brought them the awareness of this fantastic
So what about right now? What is the typical composition of Indians and non-Indians at your school?
Right now we're mostly of Indian heritage, the students are, in the school.
And what is the typical age of your students? Like what it ranges?
It ranges from 5 on up to full adult.
Full adult means 40, 50? How difficult it is to start learning Kathak as 40 or 50?
I'd say then it's...
I mean, not to be a performer on the stage, but just for the horror.
So we don't have many 40 or 50, but I will say, I think people come just like they will, I think, it feeds their soul, it feeds their heart to just be on the dance floor as a physical exercise, as a spiritual practice, as a yogic practice, as a meditation. So many of those who come just do it for the joy in the moment. And they're not thinking, and it is difficult, of course, but as long as, you know, I've always felt, I've said, Kathak has something for everybody, and I really believe that. It is such an amazing, rich form of art. It has something for everybody, but it's not for everybody. Yeah.
And how do you look at the future of Kathak here in the U.S.? If, say, I ask you to look at the next 5-10 years.
Yeah. I take great heart, at least I can speak, you know, since Guruji's death, I have my Guru sisters, and we are connected in a network that extends to India, to Canada, California, Colorado, here. So in terms of just our family of Kathak, I take great heart that these are becoming thriving institutions and that people are recognizing Kathak more. I mean, when I think from when I came in 1992 to now, the recognition amongst the general public, the regular dance world. When I came here and talked to Western dancers, nobody had heard of Kathak. Now it's much more known.
And you know, I mean, those of us also who grew up in India and were not very educated about dance and all, we used to see these dances all the time in the many Bollywood movies and all those things, but we didn't know that this is what was or is called Kathak, right?
Yeah, and that is actually an ongoing challenge, and this was a huge challenge Guruji had, is that while many of the Bollywood dancers trained in Kathak and Bharatanatyam, Kathak is really something very special and different, and I think people have sold Kathak short, and we still face this now. We face, you know, people will say when our group performs, "Oh, I wish you had done some Bollywood," and they aren't understanding what Kathak is. And so that is a tremendous challenge we have till this is continuing, is to really have people understand what is Kathak and why are so many Kathak students passionate about it, because they are.
So tell me, what is Kathak?
What is Kathak?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Well, you know, Kathak is, of course, this incredible dance form, that incorporates dance, technique, storytelling, but it's philosophy, it's culture, it's history, it's organic math. So when one trains seriously in Kathak, you're going into a big universe of exploring philosophy and all these things connected through this art form. That's what makes it. I know for me, myself, I had no idea what I was getting into when I was whatever age starting Kathak. But I thought, wow, this is something one can study one's whole life because it has so many aspects to it.
Now, what attracts in Kathak to the Western audience or non-Indian audience? Why they find it so attractive?
You mean those who do it?
Yes,
or
those who are attracted to Kathak, who wants to learn Kathak.
Yeah, I think you just, well, again, I'll speak to my initial attraction. First place, have this great, it's so exhilarating just to do as a physical form in training. It's absolutely exhilarating, and then it makes you go deeply into yourself, and a lot of self-awareness comes from it. It's hard to explain, actually, but I think the attraction is even hard to explain because it's like music. When it feeds you so deeply, you just thirst for it. You know, it's hard to explain.
Now, as we come towards the end of the interview, I must ask you about the program on Saturday.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
So this is a wonderful occasion, and I will say so Shefali Jain, who started with me when she was a young girl and went on to train with Guruji and is now back with Chhandika. Anjali Nath, who started with me, also became a disciple of Guruji. They are the co-directors of our Chhandika Youth Ensemble. And it was there, especially Shefali's vision and Anjali together, to create a program to take our Chhandika Youth Ensemble and actually elevate them and present them by themselves on stage in a full performance. So this is a first. They've been performing here and there. They've done our annual school shows. But this is the first time we've actually presented just the youth ensemble in various pieces, choreography of Guruji's, some original choreography of Shefali Jain. And they're following somewhat the format of elements of a Kathak solo, but it's all ensemble pieces. And these young girls have been working very hard, and it's a very exciting moment for them and for the Chhandika community to see this occasion come about.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Gretchen, thank you very much for coming, and all the best for Saturday.
Thank you so much.